My girlfriend trashed my proposal ring at her family dinner, called me pathetic and cheap, and that was the moment everything changed, because I walked out, cut contact, leveled up, and let karma handle the rest. So alright Reddit, here it is. I proposed to my girlfriend at her family dinner, genuinely believing I was about to spend the rest of my life with this woman, only to realize she had very different plans and was finally ready to show me exactly who she was, because she literally threw my engagement ring across the room and humiliated me in front of her parents, and after that there was nothing left to say. So I left and cut contact completely, and trust me, karma did not take a day off. So grab your popcorn. My name's Adam, I'm 33, male, and I've been turning wrenches for about 12 years now. I own my own auto shop in Columbus, Ohio, and we do everything from basic oil changes to full restorations. Whatever rolls through the door. My girlfriend at the time, Tessa, 31, worked as a senior account manager at a commercial real estate firm and always dressed like she was about to close $1 million deal. We'd been together 3.5 years and she'd been dropping hints about marriage forever, sending me ring photos on Instagram, casually bringing up wedding venues with her friends. So yeah, I figured it was time. I saved up for 6 months and bought a ring for $4,800, a 1-carat white gold ring from an actual jeweler downtown. Not some mall kiosk, and it was a beautiful ring. I even had this whole plan to propose at a nice restaurant downtown. But then her mom, Karen, announced she was planning a big family dinner, and suddenly Tessa kept stressing how important it was that I make a good impression, which was red flag number 1 considering I'd already met her family at least a dozen times. The day of the dinner I got ready and even bought a new suit, went to Men's Warehouse, got fitted, and dropped $600 I honestly couldn't spare because Tessa had been making comments for months about how I needed to dress better around her family. I picked her up at her place, a nice apartment complex I'd been helping pay for even though my name wasn't on the lease, and the second she saw me her nose wrinkled and she asked if the suit was new. I said yeah because she'd been saying I needed to dress better, and she waved it off with a smile and said we should go so we wouldn't be late, which really set the tone for the night. We drove about 30 minutes to her parents' place in Upper Arlington, a big colonial house with a lawn that looked like it was manicured with scissors. Her dad, Edward, was some executive at a logistics company, and her mom didn't work but treated her charity board activities like she was running a Fortune 500. And while they were always polite to my face, I could feel them sizing me up every single time. Dinner itself was exactly what you'd expect, fancy setup, multiple courses. Her brother-in-law Derek, a cardiologist, talked about his new boat. Her sister Michelle showed off photos from their Bahamas vacation, and Tyler, who was 26 and still living at home while finding himself, talked about his investments, while I stayed quiet, used the right fork, kept my elbows off the table, and smiled at the right moments, all the while feeling the ring box burning a hole in my jacket pocket because my plan was to propose after dessert. And sure enough, when we got to dessert, Tessa's mom started asking about our future plans, and I knew that was my moment. My heart was pounding as I stood up with shaky legs and pulled the ring box from my pocket. Tessa's eyes went wide, her mom gasped, and I dropped down on one knee right there in her parents' dining room, opened the box, and the diamond caught the light perfectly as I started my speech about how the last 3.5 years had been amazing, how Tessa was smart and beautiful, and how I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. And then I asked her to marry me, and the silence that followed felt endless, because instead of answering, Tessa just stared at the ring as her expression shifted from shock to confusion to pure disgust. And then she asked, "Are you serious right now?" And I was confused but told her yes, that I loved her and asked again if she would marry me. And instead of answering, she pointed at the ring like I'd handed her something dead and asked what it even was. So I told her it was a 1-carat white gold ring from a jeweler downtown, and she repeated 1 carat like I'd just insulted her entire bloodline. Then started comparing it to Michelle's 3-carat ring and her friend Ashley's 2.5, asking how I could possibly think proposing with 1 carat was acceptable. And there I was still on one knee with everyone staring as I told her it was what I could afford. And that was when she really unleashed, snapping back that what I could afford wasn't good enough, reminding me that I was just a mechanic, someone who worked on cars for a living, and that was only the beginning of what was about to come. She kept going, her voice sharp and unforgiving as she said, "You work on cars. Do you know what it's like telling people my boyfriend fixes transmissions for a living?" And her dad tried to cut in, saying her name like a warning, but she shut him down instantly with, "No, Dad, he needs to hear this." And now she was standing, her voice rising, spilling everything she'd clearly been holding back for years, telling me she'd waited 3 years for me to get my act together, to do something with my life, to become someone she could actually be proud of, while I stayed frozen. There on one knee like an idiot, barely able to process what was happening. And then she twisted the knife deeper, asking if I really thought proposing with a tiny ring at a family dinner was going to be enough, calling it pathetic, calling me pathetic and cheap, before she reached forward, grabbed the ring box straight out of my hand, pulled the ring out, and threw it across the room where it bounced off the wall and disappeared behind her dad's liquor cabinet. Her mom gasping her name in horror, but Tessa wasn't finished, not even close, because she announced she wasn't marrying a mechanic, wasn't going to spend her life worrying about money, driving used cars, living in some small house, while her friends married doctors, lawyers, and entrepreneurs, reminding everyone that Michelle married a cardiologist and asking how she was supposed to marry someone who changed oil filters. And the words just kept coming as she accused me of having no ambition, of being content with mediocrity, running my little garage and working on my little cars, telling me I'd never be more than what I was right then and that she deserved better, and something in me finally snapped, because I went quiet for a moment and then really looked at her, and said she was absolutely right, which made her blink because she hadn't expected that, and I told her she deserved better and so did I. Then I stood up, walked over to the liquor cabinet, got down on my hands and knees, found the ring, put it back in the box, slipped it into my pocket, stood up, brushed off my pants, and calmly thanked Karen and Edward for dinner, telling them it was lovely. Then turned to Michelle and Derek and said it was always a pleasure. Wished Tyler good luck with his crypto, and started toward the door, stopping only when Tessa demanded to know where I thought I was going. And I turned around one last time and told her I was going to find someone who didn't think I was a worthless piece of garbage. Listening as she accused me of being dramatic, calmly pointing out that she'd just thrown my engagement ring at a wall, letting the silence hang. Then telling her the funny part was that she'd just done me the biggest favor of my life by showing me exactly who she was before I made a mistake, looking at her parents and thanking them for raising someone who valued money over character, saying I'd really dodged a bullet, and then I left, got in my truck, and drove away, hearing her yelling my name behind me but never looking back, driving straight to my buddy Cole's place where he took one look at my face, didn't ask a single question, just handed me a drink and waited while I told him everything. And after a quiet moment he started laughing, pointing out how insane it was that I'd bought a $5,000 ring, gotten fitted for a suit, driven to her parents' mansion, proposed, and somehow she still thought I was the one without standards. And he was right. It was her loss, though at the time neither of us knew just how big that loss was going to be. Because I woke up on his couch Sunday morning with a splitting headache and around 90 missed calls, 34 from Tessa, 8 from her mom, even her sister calling twice. The texts. Cycling through denial, anger, guilt, and insults, starting with asking where I was and saying we should talk like adults, shifting to calling me ridiculous and claiming she'd just been caught off guard, then guilt-tripping me for abandoning her, and finally calling me pathetic for walking out and humiliating her, and I deleted every single one, blocked her number, blocked her on Instagram, Facebook, everything, completely done, while Cole made coffee and eggs and asked what the plan was, and I told him I'd move on, focus on the shop, and forget she existed, but he just leaned back with a grin and told me to think bigger, to prove her wrong, to make her regret every word, and he wasn't wrong, because I'd been holding myself back for years trying to be what she wanted, letting the shop coast instead of growing, never expanding or chasing the higher-end jobs I knew I could handle, and Cole laid it all out, telling me to expand the business, hire another mechanic, upgrade equipment, take on restorations full-time, document everything, start an Instagram, build a brand, and let her watch me succeed without her, reminding me that the ring store had a 30-day return policy, which meant that $4,800 was coming right back, and by Monday morning I was at the shop early, standing in Collins Auto Repair, not huge but mine, 2 bays, a small office, a waiting area that needed work, a place I'd bought 3 years earlier from the guy who trained me, full of potential, with Logan already there working on a Civic, the 24-year-old kid I'd hired fresh out of tech school looking up and telling me he'd heard my weekend was rough, admitting my ex had called the shop Saturday night looking for me and accused him of lying when he said he didn't know where I was. She called me a liar and hung up, of course she did. Sorry about that. Don't be. She sounded insane. Smart kid. Spent that day actually making a plan, called the jeweler, confirmed I could return the ring, made a list of equipment upgrades I'd been putting off, researched paint booth prices, looked into financing for a frame machine. That night I went back to my apartment, had the landlord change the locks, found a bunch of Tessa's stuff scattered around, boxed it all up, took photos just in case, her problem now. Tuesday morning she shows up at the shop. I'm under a Tahoe doing a transmission flush when Logan comes back looking uncomfortable. Your ex is here. Tell her I'm busy. I did. She says it's important. Tell her I don't care if she's on fire. I'm busy. Logan goes back out, can hear her voice getting louder. Then she's in the garage, heels clicking on concrete. Adam, we need to talk. I roll back under the Tahoe. No, we don't. You're being childish. I roll back out, stand up, grab a shop rag. No, Tessa, we don't need to talk. Get away from here. I'm busy. She tries to backtrack. Okay. I was caught off guard. You should have discussed proposing with me first. That's not how proposals work. You know, the thing you've been hinting about for 3 years. I have expectations standards. Yeah, I noticed. Here's the thing. I lean against the Tahoe. I got your stuff boxed up. Dropping it off tonight. We're done. Don't call. Don't come by. Don't contact me. You can't just throw away 3 years over one bad night. Watch me. Her face shifts to actually angry. Fine. You want to throw away 3 years? Be my guest. But don't come crying to me when you realize what you lost. I won't. She stares for another second, then storms out. Logan watches her drive away and whistles. That was satisfying. It really was. But I wasn't done yet. Not even close. 2 weeks after the disaster dinner, my life looked completely different. First thing, returned that ring. I walked into the jeweler Tuesday afternoon, explained the situation. The jeweler looked genuinely sorry for me. Got my $4,800 back, plus another $3,000 I'd been saving for the wedding. Bought a professional-grade diagnostic scanner, alignment machine, paint gun setup, rest went to parts inventory. But the real change was mental. Stopped playing small. Started saying yes to jobs I turned down before. Classic car restoration. Bring it. Full engine rebuilds. Let's go. Custom work? Absolutely. Word spread fast. Did a full restoration on a 1970 Chevelle for a guy who owns a local bar. He posted pictures on Facebook and tagged the shop. Suddenly got 3 more classic car owners calling. Did a paint correction and detail on a brand new Corvette for a lawyer who then sent his entire firm our way. Started that Instagram Cole suggested. Posted photos of the builds, before and afters, detail shots. Got 200 followers in the first week, then 500, then 1,000. People loved watching the progress. 3 weeks in, hired a second mechanic, guy named Tony, 38, worked at a dealership for 15 years and was sick of corporate nonsense. Knew European cars better than anyone I'd met. Brought his own clients with him. Now it's me, Logan, and Tony. Money started rolling in. Real profit. Paid off my truck. Paid off the remaining loan on shop equipment early. Started actually saving and I felt good. Woke up excited to go to work. Stayed late because I wanted to, not because I had to. Lost 15 pounds, stress weight. Cole came by one Saturday morning with coffee and donuts. Watched me working on a classic Bronco restoration. You look different. Happier. I am. Heard through the grapevine Tessa's been asking about you. Oh yeah. My girlfriend knows her sister. Apparently Tess has been checking your Instagram. Sees the shop doing well. Might be having regrets. Too bad. Way too late. That afternoon got a DM on Instagram from Tessa's friend Ashley. Hey, I know things ended badly with you and Tessa, but I wanted to bring my husband's Audi in for work. Heard great things. Stared at that message for a minute, but business is business. Sure, shop hours are on the profile. Ashley shows up Monday morning with her husband, some finance guy named Brett driving an A7. Nice car. Needed full service. They seemed genuinely impressed with the shop. Ashley looks around surprised. Tessa always made it sound like you worked out of someone's garage or something. But this is really professional. She saw what she wanted to see. I'm starting to realize that. They left the car, came back 3 days later. Brett's thrilled with the work, paid full price, plus a $100 tip. Ashley took pictures, posted them on Instagram, and tagged the shop. Tessa commented within an hour, something passive-aggressive about me staying busy with my little garage. Ashley replied, "It's actually really impressive and professional. You should see it. Screenshot that." I sent it to Cole and he sent back laughing emojis. The Real kicker came Friday night at a bar with Cole and some friends, watching the game, when I heard a familiar voice behind me say, "Adam Collins." No way. I turned around and it was Sandra from high school. I hadn't seen her in probably 10 years. She looked great, confident. Turns out she just moved back to Columbus and was running a marketing firm downtown. Successful, independent, and actually impressed when I told her I owned Collins Auto Repair. She said she followed my Instagram and that the Chevelle restoration was insane. We ended up talking for an hour. She was funny, easy to talk to, genuinely interested in the work, and when she left she gave me her card and said we should grab coffee sometime, maybe collaborate on marketing stuff. Cole elbowed me after she walked away and said she was into me. I told him to stop, said she was just being friendly, and he told me that was flirting and I was just out of practice. I told him to shut up, but maybe he was right. I texted Sandra the next morning and we set up coffee for Tuesday. I was building, and it was about to get more interesting. Coffee with Sandra turned into dinner. Dinner turned into her hiring me to work on her Subaru WRX, and working on her car turned into her introducing me to half her network of young professionals who all drove nice cars and had money to maintain them, right? Within a month, Collins Auto Repair became the spot for Columbus's under 40 professional crowd, lawyers, doctors, tech people, entrepreneurs, all bringing their vehicles because Sandra made us her personal recommendation. Instagram went from 1,000 followers to 5,500. Business was thriving. I hired a third mechanic just to keep up, a guy named Chris, mid-20s, specialized in imports, and now we had 4 people working the bays. Then Sandra and I started dating. Yeah, I know, Cole was right. Nothing too serious at first. She was different from Tessa in every way that mattered. She thought the shop was cool, asked questions about the work, and never once made me feel like I wasn't good enough. 2 months after the disaster dinner, Cole called with interesting news. Tessa got demoted. I asked how he knew and he said his girlfriend worked in the same building. Apparently Tessa missed a major deal deadline, lost a client, and got knocked down from senior account manager to regular account manager, pay cut and everything. I should have felt bad. I didn't. Oh, and she was trying to get out of her Lexus lease early but the penalties were brutal and she couldn't afford it anymore. That same week I posted a photo on Instagram of me and Sandra standing in front of a 1969 Camaro I just finished restoring, full restoration. Sold it for $68,000 to a collector in Chicago. In the photo Sandra had her arm around me and we were both grinning. That post got 2,000 likes and the comments were wild. Relationship goals. That car is fire. You two are cute together. Tessa saw it. I know because Ashley texted me warning that Tessa was losing it. Had been crying all evening, and said she might reach out. Sure enough, that night I got a message request from a new account. Tessa obviously trying to get around the block, asking if we could please talk, saying she made a huge mistake, missed me, saw what I was doing with the shop, and was so proud. I screenshotted it, sent it to Cole, and didn't reply. She sent 3 more messages over the next hour, each one more desperate. The last one asking if that was my girlfriend in the photo, saying she wasn't even that pretty, asking if I was really going to throw away what we had for her. I blocked that account too. Next Monday something interesting happened when Logan came back looking uncomfortable and said Tessa's mom was here. I walked out to the waiting area and Karen was standing there looking way less polished than at that dinner. No makeup, casual clothes, seemed tired. She thanked me for seeing her and I asked what I could do for her. She said she wanted to apologize for what happened at dinner. That Tessa was out of line and they should have stopped her. I told her apology noted and asked if there was anything else. She looked around the shop and said I'd done well for myself. I thanked her. Then she got to the real reason, said Tessa had been having a hard time lately, that she knew she made a mistake, a big one, and asked if there was any chance I'd reconsider. I told her I respected her, but her daughter humiliated me in front of her entire family because I'm a mechanic, and there was no coming back from that. I said she was scared of commitment, of ending up dependent, and that was her problem to work through, not mine. She tried explaining about Tessa projecting her fears and being scared of ending up dependent, and I told her I understood she was struggling, but she showed me who she was over 3 years, someone who looks down on honest work, who values image over substance, and who only recognizes value after it's gone. Karen nodded slowly, said I was right and that she just wanted to try, and then she left. That night Sandra came by after I closed, and I told her about Karen's visit and said, "She's panicking. Seeing you succeed and realizing she messed up. What are you going to do?" "Nothing. Just keep building." Sandra grinned. "Come to this business networking event with me next week." "Why?" "It's downtown. Bunch of professionals. Tessa's company will be there. Open event." "That feels petty." "It is petty, but it's also justice." Had a point. I agreed to go. The networking event was the following Thursday. I wore my good suit. Sandra looked stunning in a black dress. We walked in together. She knew half the room and introduced me as Adam Collins, owner of Collins Auto Repair. Been there maybe 20 minutes when I saw her, Tessa, standing near the refreshment table with co-workers. She looked tired. She saw me. Her face went white. Eyes flicked to Sandra next to me, then back. I watched her excuse herself and start walking over. Sandra squeezed my arm. Tessa stopped a few feet away. Up close, she looked worse, dark circles under makeup. "Hi, Adam." "Hey." Awkward silence. "I didn't know you'd be here." Sandra invited me. Networking opportunity. She looked at Sandra and tried to introduce herself. "I'm Tessa, Adam's ex-girlfriend." Turned to Sandra. "This is Sandra, my girlfriend." Tessa's fake smile cracked. Sandra extended her hand. "Nice to meet you. Adam's told me about you." "I see." Silence again. "So, how's work going?" I kept my voice casual. She lied. "It's fine. Busy." "That's good. Heard you got demoted, but wasn't sure if it was true." Her face twitched. "The shop's doing great. Actually expanding soon. Looking at buying the unit next door." "That's great. I'm happy for you." "Thanks." "Yeah. Things really took off after I pause." "Well, you know, she knows. We should grab drinks sometime." My friend group, Ashley and Brett, came by the shop, said it was great. Her face twitched again. She stammered something about maybe getting back to her co-workers. "Good seeing you, Tessa." She practically ran back to her group. Sandra waited until Tessa was out of earshot. That was brutal. Too much. Nope. Perfect. She had it coming. Stayed another hour. Made good connections. Sandra introduced me to a real estate developer who needed fleet maintenance. Tessa watched from across the room. Leaving, I checked Instagram. Tessa had posted a vague, sad quote 30 minutes ago. "You don't realize what you have until it's gone." Cole commented, "Maybe don't throw engagement rings then." Drove back to my place. Life was good, but it wasn't done yet. Not even close. A month after the networking event, Tessa made her big play. Backfired spectacularly. Started with a Google review. 1 star. Posted under a fake name, but obviously her. Claimed terrible service, scratched car, unprofessional owner, the works. Complete fiction. I saw it the morning it posted. Showed Logan and Tony. We all laughed because it was obviously fake. Responded publicly asking for proof of service, screenshot everything, pulled a quick activity report from our CRM, and filed a Google business profile dispute under their user-contributed content policy. Fake, misleading, plus coordinated stuff. Attached our work order list showing none of those cars were here. She didn't respond. 2 days later, 3 more fake reviews appeared. All 1 star, all claiming terrible service, damaged vehicles, all obviously coordinated. This was actually a problem. Our shop had 4.9 stars from over 100 legitimate reviews. These fake ones dropped us to 4.5. For a business that relies on reputation, that's serious. But here's where Tessa screwed up. She used a VPN and fake emails but didn't mask her writing style. All 4 reviews used similar phrasing, similar complaints. I called a buddy who does IT work, asked if he could trace the reviews, and he called back the same day. All 4 reviews came from IP addresses connected to the same apartment complex. Which one? Tessa's building. Bingo. He emailed me a full report, timestamps, IP addresses, everything documented. Took that straight to Google, filed a complaint. 3 days later, all 4 fake reviews were removed. Didn't stop there. Posted about it on Instagram without mentioning names. Just made it clear a competitor tried tanking our reputation with fake reviews. Got caught. All fake reviews removed. Said, "We stand by our work and always keep receipts." Post blew up. 3,000 likes. Comments were savage. People asking who tries to ruin a small business like that. Ashley texted, "Was that Tessa?" I couldn't say, but yes, definitely her. She's been obsessed with your Instagram. Not handling things well. 2 days later, another move. The landlord called saying he got a strange complaint about me from another tenant. Noise complaints about me working on cars in the parking lot at night. Complete nonsense. Adam, I know it's garbage. You never work on cars in the parking lot. Who filed it? Someone not even in the building. Wrong address entirely. Name on the complaint was Tessa Price. Don't worry about it. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Appreciate it. Tessa was escalating, and I hadn't even done anything. Just existed successfully while she imploded. That weekend, she made her biggest mistake. Showed up at the shop Saturday afternoon while I was working on a Porsche 911 restoration. A $45,000 job for a collector. Sandra was in the office, focused on some work, when Tessa walked into the garage. I rolled out from under the Porsche and froze. She looked rough in jeans and a sweater. "We need to talk." "No. Leave." "Adam, please. 5 minutes." "You wrote fake reviews about my shop, called my landlord with fake complaints, been stalking my Instagram. There's nothing to talk about." Her face flushed. "I didn't. Don't. I have proof. Don't insult us both by lying." Tears started streaming down her face. Real tears. "I'm sorry. I've been a mess. I can't eat. Can't sleep. I lost my promotion. I'm going to lose my apartment. Everything's falling apart. And I miss you. I miss us. There is no us. There was you, using me while looking down on me until you found something better. Then I had the audacity to propose, and you humiliated me. I know. I hate myself for it. Can we start over, please?" Sandra appeared in the office doorway, arms crossed, watching. Tessa saw her, and her expression hardened. Tears stopped. "Is this because of her? You're throwing away 3 years because of some rebound. You already threw it away. Now you're just upset because I'm doing better without you." She turned to Sandra. "You're not even that pretty. What do you have that I don't?" Sandra didn't miss a beat. Self-respect and actual respect for him. Tessa lost it. Screaming about how I'm nothing without her, how I'll always be a loser, how she was the best thing that ever happened to me. Full meltdown. Tony came out from the other bay, took one look, quietly pulled out his phone, and started recording. "You need to leave now before I call the cops." "You wouldn't." "I absolutely would. You're trespassing." She stood there shaking and crying for another moment, then finally left, peeled out of the parking lot, tires squealing. Tony kept the video and posted a clip on Instagram stories. Just the end where she's screaming about me being a loser mechanic, Sandra calm in the background. Caption about when someone can't handle your success. Didn't tag anyone. 10,000 views in 2 hours. Monday morning, got a call from Tessa's boss at the real estate company, a guy named Richard. "Mr. Collins, I'm calling about an incident over the weekend. We saw concerning behavior on social media. Can you verify if Tessa Price showed up at your business and caused a disturbance? Yes, sir. I have video. Could you send that to me? We're conducting an internal review. Sent him the full video. 20 minutes later, he called back. Thank you. We're taking this very seriously. 2 days later, Ashley texted. Tessa got fired. Went to her boss's office crying. Tried to explain the video. Ended up having a breakdown. They let her go. She's moving back in with her parents. Everything falling apart. But she had one more play left, and this one would require my final move to end it permanently. 6 weeks after the shop incident, Tessa's life had become a cautionary tale. Her sister Michelle called one evening in early October. We'd always gotten along okay. Adam, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from. What's up? It's about Tessa. I know you don't owe her anything, but I'm worried about her. Really worried. Told her I was listening. She explained. Tessa moved back in with their parents, depressed, barely leaves her room, applying for jobs but failing once companies check references. Word spreads. Totaled her Civic last week running a red light. Wasn't hurt, but car's gone. I'm sorry she's struggling, Michelle, but there's nothing I can do. I know. I'm not asking you to take her back. God, no. I just wanted you to know she hit rock bottom. She talks about you constantly, about how she destroyed the best relationship she ever had. Hung up and told Sandra later. Feel bad. A little, not enough to do anything about it. Good. Tessa made her bed multiple times. The following weekend was the Columbus Auto Show. Entered the 1969 Camaro I'd restored, full frame-off restoration. Won Best in Show for restorations. $5,000 prize plus major recognition. Local news interviewed me. Columbus Magazine wanted a feature. Local mechanic builds dream business. Riding high. The shop doubled revenue in 4 months. Hired a 4th mechanic. Signed a lease on the unit next door. Sandra and I were getting serious. Life was objectively great. Then I got the email from Tessa. Subject line, please read this. Should have deleted it, but curiosity is powerful. Opened it. Long apology. Said she doesn't expect forgiveness. Said she panicked that night. It wasn't about the ring or my job. It was about her. She was scared. Her parents had this picture of who she should marry, and she let that get in her head. Went on about how I was everything she needed, but she was too blind to see it. Knows she destroyed us and hurt me. Knows she doesn't deserve another chance, but wanted me to know she made the biggest mistake of her life. Says she's sorry for everything. Hopes someday I can forgive her. Read it twice. Showed Cole. That's actually kind of genuine. Yeah, genuine. My ass. I don't care. That's why I like you, bro. Wrote back one message. Tessa, I appreciate the apology, but you showed me exactly who you were. I'm not angry anymore. Just grateful you rejected that proposal before I made the biggest mistake of my life. Hope you find whatever you're looking for, but it's not going to be with me. Sent it. Blocked her email. Done. 2 days later, got a call from an unknown number. Answered out of habit. Heavy breathing, then sobbing. It was her, calling from someone else's phone. Adam, I'm sorry. I read your email. I need to see you, please. One conversation face to face. Then I'll leave you alone forever. I promise. Sighed. Fine. One conversation at the shop tomorrow at noon. 30 minutes maximum. That's it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sandra wasn't happy. Why are you giving her anything? She doesn't deserve your time. I need her to hear it from me face to face one final time. Then it'll really be done. You're a better person than me. Just tired of this hanging over everything. Next day, noon on the dot, Tessa showed up, looking terrible. Sat in my office, door open, Logan and Tony working within earshot. Thank you for seeing me. You have 30 minutes. Say what you need to say. She took a shaky breath, started explaining therapy, how her therapist helped her realize stuff about herself, how she tied her self-worth to external validation. Yeah, whatever. Went on about how she was wrong about everything, that I'm honest and hardworking and loyal, that she was too shallow. Then the ask, is there any chance we could try again? Start over? I'm different now. Nope. She flinched. You didn't change. You just lost everything, and now you're looking for someone to save you. 6 months ago, if I'd shown up with $1 million, you would have said yes to that proposal. But I showed up with honest work and a genuine heart, and you threw it in my face. She tried to argue, but I cut her off. You don't miss me. You missed the security I provided while you looked for something better. I know because you didn't apologize after that dinner. Didn't realize you were wrong when I moved out. Didn't have regrets when I started succeeding. Only started reaching out when you saw me happy with someone else. That's not love. That's regret that your safety net's gone. She was crying now. Full crying. I'm just being honest. You need to work on yourself. Find your own worth. Build a life you're proud of. But you're not going to do that with me. We're done. I love you. No. You love the idea of not being alone. There's a difference. She sat there crying for another minute, then stood up, wiped her eyes. I hope you're happy. I hope Sandra treats you better than I did. I am. And she does. Goodbye, Tessa. She left. Watched her get into her mom's car. They drove away. Gone. Finally. Actually, truly gone. Cole called 10 minutes later. How'd it go? It's over. For real this time. How do you feel? Free. And I did. 3 months after that final conversation, everything came full circle in a way I couldn't have predicted. Mid-January, shop expansion was complete. Collins's Auto Repair had officially become Collins's Auto Works. 4 bays now, dedicated paint booth, customer lounge that didn't look like a DMV waiting room, grown to 7 employees total. Instagram following hit 15,000. Sandra and I moved in together. Real partnership, real future. Found a nice place. She supported me to think bigger, dream bigger, but never once made me feel like what I did wasn't enough. Got a call one afternoon from a number I didn't recognize. Answered while working on a Tesla Model S. Guy introduces himself as Edward Price. Tessa's father. Adam, I want to apologize for what happened at that dinner. Karen filled me in on everything after the reviews, the stalking, all of it. That's not how we raised Tessa. I appreciate that. But more importantly, I want to thank you. Thank me, he explained. Said what I did, walking away with dignity, building my life without her. Taught Tessa a lesson they never could. She'd been coasting for years, treating people like stepping stones. Never had to face real consequences until me. Said she's actually working on herself, got a job at a smaller firm, moved into her own apartment, learning to be a person. I just wanted you to know you handled everything with more class than most men would have. You could have destroyed her reputation completely, but you just moved on and succeeded. That showed a lot about you. We talked a few more minutes. He asked about the shop, seemed genuinely interested, said if he ever needed work done he'd bring his cars by. Hung up on good terms. That weekend was the big Columbus Business Awards. Sandra's marketing firm got nominated for Rising Small Business. Got dressed up. We looked good together. The event was at the convention center. Huge crowd, fancy setup. Sandra's firm won their category. I was genuinely proud of her. Celebrated, took pictures, mingled at the refreshment table getting drinks when I heard a voice behind me. Adam. Turned around. Tessa. She was different. Looked normal. Tessa. Hey, I wasn't sure if you'd be here. Saw Collins's Auto Works got nominated for Rising Business of the Year. Yeah, didn't win, but the nomination was cool. You should have one. Your shop's incredible. Awkward silence. How are you doing? Better. Actually, better. She explained she was working for a smaller firm now, commercial leasing, nothing glamorous. Got her own apartment in Clintonville, paying for it herself. Said she's been in therapy, working on herself. How's your family? Michelle and Derek are good. Tyler finally moved out. Parents are dealing. She paused. My dad called you. He did last week. He felt terrible about everything. Sandra appeared next to me, slipped her arm through mine, introduced them properly this time. They shook hands. Civil, mature. Tessa complimented Sandra's firm on their win. Sandra thanked her and mentioned she'd heard Tessa's doing well at her new position. Small steps, but forward steps, Tessa said. We stood there for a moment. I should go. Just wanted to say hi. I'm glad you're happy. You both deserve it. She walked away before I could respond. Sandra watched her go. That was surprisingly mature. Yeah, people can change when they actually want to. On the drive home, Sandra asked if I ever regretted how it all went down. I thought about that dinner, the ring hitting the wall, the months after. No. If Tessa had said yes that night, I'd be married to someone who thought I was worthless, would have spent years trying to be someone I'm not. Instead, I'm here running a successful business I'm proud of, dating someone who actually respects me, living on my own terms. 6 months later, Collins's Autoworks would land a contract with a luxury dealership. A year later, we'd open a second location. 2 years later, I'd propose to Sandra with a ring I could actually afford. And she'd say yes without even looking at the carat size. But that morning, sitting in my garage with my best friend and a cup of coffee, looking at the business I'd built from scratch, that was enough. Tessa was right about one thing at that dinner. I had no ambition to be what she wanted. She was looking for someone to fund her lifestyle. Turns out I did have ambition, just not for the things she valued. I had ambition to build something with my own hands, to create something lasting, to earn respect instead of demanding it, to be with someone who saw my worth without me having to prove it daily. And that made all the difference. The shop door opened. First customer of the day, a guy with a classic Mustang needing restoration work. Let's see what we're working with. Life was good. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube, this video deserves to blow up, and keeps even crazier stories coming your way.